Hello, Spurs fans. Great result the other night. You won't have seen me before. Brand new on YouTube. Well, for this channel. Actually, I've only been dabbling with another channel, but that's about home brewing, if you care to check that out. But anyway, quick introduction, which will be boring as hell, so I'll try and do it as quick as possible. My name's Del. I'm living in China most of the time these days. And one of the things I miss most is watching the Spurs. Yeah, one of the things I miss the most. Yeah, and that and a beer, good old beer. So I've got some China stuff, which is basically most of my other channels all about tasting beer tastings and everything. Anyway, enough of the other channel. After every Spurs game, wobbling. It's usually, especially the evening games, midweek games, about 4 o'clock in the morning actually, at the moment, 4 o'clock, sorry. There you go, told you I was new to this crap. But that's nothing compared to the faithful supporters who travel up the motorways and all over England and Europe to watch away games. I used to go see Spurs when I was a kid. I'm getting on now, 66 now, in the 70s. So I used to go to White Hart Lane, and Glenn Hoddle, my hero. But I managed to see, I saw Pat Jennings, Too Late for Greavesy, Steve Perriman, Martin Chivers, like I say, Hoddle, Waddle, Ginola later on, even Gascoigne. God, you know, I've seen some top players. Teddy Sheringham, defenders. Oh God, Fago. Some great Spurs players. And I was a young man when we were probably the first to start the foreign invasion by buying Osvaldo Ardiles and Ricky Villa. Don't know how many of you remember those. Spurs fans will, because Ozzy's still around in the club. Cheers, by the way. That ain't bad at all. So, yeah, with Steve Birkinshaw as the manager, used to go to as many home games as possible. The odd away game, you know, I loved Spurs, always have done, but I wasn't the best of away travel. I've been around the country. Obviously been to United and Leeds in the day. That was rough, and of course the London derbies. Been to all of those. I did some fair travelling. Never went abroad, even though we were in Europe and won the UEFA Cup with the old Graham Roberts and Ozzy Ardiles and Hoddle. And anyway, so that's a bit of my background. I've been supporting them all my life. First game I went to was Tottenham Man United, and my brother, God rest his soul, he died 4 or 5 years ago. My older brother, he reluctantly took me eventually, because I just hounded him. I said, I want to go. He used to go with his mates to Spurs. And one day he relented and went up White Hart Lane, and that was it. I was even more of a addict, I suppose you could call it addict, than he was. You know, I used to end up starting going up on my own. You know, as a like 14, 15 years old. Not sneaking in, but getting tickets. Well, it was a lot easier to get tickets back then. But it was pretty scary. And then of course we used to go out there, you know, a few of my mates. Yeah. Anyway, there you go. But we grew up in the we went there in the 70s when the transport system was shite. Not much better now by all accounts. But you know, when it was pretty rough. You know, the fighting in the grounds and all that. You know. I wasn't part of it, but sometimes you got caught up in it. You couldn't get home without having a fight sometimes, especially on the train stations and shit. So thank God most of that's gone. So yeah, right. So I don't usually make notes, but since this is my introduction video, so yeah, I mentioned like Gilsey, Chivers, Hoddle, and we've had some, and I don't want to get in. I'm not. If you want to come on here for the negative, slagging off the players and whatever, you'll get criticism from me. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not going to destroy them. But I will say at the moment, the players, we've always had someone that it's kind of like, it's just different. Now it's just, and I don't think it's just Spurs, to be honest with you. I mean, even Haaland at City, he's a great big lump, and he's a good player. But there doesn't seem to be like the flair and the trickery, like Teddy Sheringham. As a forward, but I mean, the latest. I mean, Harry Kane. He could drop back. He had the skills. The only thing he didn't have, same with Sheringham, he didn't have the pace. But everything else, they're world-class players. Spurs squad, we don't really have anyone at the moment. We haven't had for a while, have we? Since Bale and Modric, I suppose. But yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I got into the football side too quickly. Back into introduction. So as I say, I'm living in China most of the time, but I've just went back to England for the first time in a few years, and I'm having more trouble watching it on the box there than I am in China. I can watch every Premier League game here, and even replays the following day. The trouble is, the replays, I don't quite get it. If you log in and you want to watch a replay, the scores are there before you watch the fucking replay. Sorry, try not to swear. I'm not going to make this channel for kids, but I'm going to try and keep the swearing down as I know it's for adults, but it doesn't matter, the odd F word slipping in. What was I saying? See, and you might get a lot of that now. I'm just drifting away a lot these days. But yeah, but it's so cheap. So for £3.50 a month, I can watch all the football games. Now, when I went back, people I was staying with said, "Oh, have you got the football?" I said, "Well, yeah, we've got Sky. Brilliant." I find out it's on TNT Sports. Never heard of them before. So I says, "Right, so what does that mean?" "Well, we haven't got that because we've subscribed to Sky." I says, "Yeah, but why don't you subscribe to that?" They said, "It's already 34 quid a month, or 40 quid for the full Sky package a month. If we want to do the TNT football, that's another £36." I went, "You're kidding me? So that's £70-80 a month to watch I'm paying £3.50. And it's in English, sorry, as well. That's the thing, you've got the little button on the corner, click, English commentary. You don't get the punditry. You might get a little bit of half time, but you don't get the punditry. But I do all that on YouTube anyway afterwards. Catch up the matches, and I can watch match of the day. So it's just, so thank God I can watch my football. The wife thinks I'm absolutely mental, even though I can watch the replays. I get up, I wake up, like say the 8 o'clock kickoff's 4 o'clock in the morning now. Every now and again, if we kick off midday in England, I can watch it 8:30 and stuff. So, but anyway, so after every game, I always watch the YouTube channels. And to be perfectly honest with you, I've got to be careful what I want to say here, because I don't want this channel to start. I want comments. Of course I want comments. But if you're going to get nasty about it, just don't bother. I respect opinions. I even respect the opinions, but I don't like, people are entitled to boo after a game. I don't like it. But I remember even Ange at one game, it came over on the Chinese TV, and he came up to applaud the fans. It wasn't a great performance, but some yobbo called him a big F off you fat cunt and all this lot, and I'm thinking, come on, he's up a bit. And as for before the City game, which I'll just quickly, sorry, I know all about the Spurs rivalry with Arsenal and everything, and I've been to so many of the derbies, and it was always that I went to the game. Oh God, see, I've got straight into the current day situation. I'll just quickly reel back, then I'll go into the City game again. Just a little bit again, the history. I know the Spurs, and I think I mentioned, you know, the Spurs rivalry. We went to Arsenal. Whenever we got one over on them, I remember us beating them 5-0 at White Hart Lane. Oh, absolutely brilliant. I think it's Peter Taylor scored an absolute peach of a goal. Anyway, following year, same old, same old. They stuffed us 5-0. And remember when we beat them in the semi-final of the FA Cup, Gascoigne scored that scorching free kick. Seaman just about got his hands to it, top corner. First time we've ever met them in the semi-final, we beat them. They only did it, was it a year later? I couldn't believe it. We met them in the semi-final a year later and they beat us. We never kind of like hold on to something from them bastards for years and years and years. But I've got to be honest, over the years, okay, still hate them, but it's not that kind of like, I try to, maybe it's easier in China because I don't have so many people who are into the Premier League, and I don't get the earache so much. But yeah, I was witnessed when we got relegated, and even when we got relegated, went to every home game, and we were flying. We were flying. We were doing like an Arsenal. We was like winning, coming straight back. We ended up third. Just scraped in. We nearly cocked it up. It really wobbled at the end of the season, and they didn't do playoffs then. If we had playoffs, the way our form slumped, we probably might still be in the bloody second division or the championship, what it's called now. So that was painful, relegation. So we really don't want that to happen this year. So I can understand the fears and the frustrations and everything, but I wanted. So yeah. So I was compelled because of the negativity at the moment, the booing, the YouTube channels. Oh, and one today in particular, and like I say, I don't want to start a war between channels, but what compelled me today was I saw one that even after those results, it was almost like a disappointment. Oh, well, that means Frank's going to stay and what? Oh, give him a chance, will you? You know, we should have given Ange till maybe now to see, you know. But then again, he would still have the same problems as he had last year. You talk about hospital, Spurs, Tottenham Hospital. You know, it's fucking hell. They're going down like flies. In Bergvale's out now. Even in Danso, Romero was just sick, thank God. But Porro's out. Porro was likely to break down any time because he's been played to death. So I'm not saying I wanted Frank in before Ange. Now when Ange hit the ground flying, fantastic. I thought, wow, happy days. But it all went pear-shaped. Apart from we won the league, the trophy, and come on, let's be honest with it. Yeah, we won it. Yeah, we won it. But it was close. You know, if Van der Ven hadn't done that overhead clearance, United were pressing for a goal, and we hung on and we won it. And that's all there is to it. We won the bloody thing. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So for that alone, Ange should have been given some more time. But I was happy as Larry when Frank got in, and Frank's got the same injury crisis, probably even worse. You know what I mean? And then our what is it, signature signing or whatever, our statement signing, Kudus, crocked after, 4 games, and he wasn't even looking great 2 games before that. I said I wasn't going to start criticising. I will criticise players, but I won't go overboard on them. You know what I mean? I was surprised Johnson left, but he was probably one of the most frustrating players I've seen for years. Never really did for us what he did for Forest, but still surprised he went, and I still something's going to come out about that. It was so quick. It was so quick and out. Oh, beg pardon. And out of the blue. So, before I sign off, my views. My views on yesterday's game. I thought it was great. I couldn't believe how bad we started, and even at one stage when City were 1-0 up, they were walking, just passing the ball sideways, and we weren't even trying to get the ball. And I think we are losing this game, aren't we? I had to keep checking the score. And then they could have probably Vicario again. I've got you know, if I was toss a coin, I'd not toss a coin, but if I had the choice, I'd have Kingsley, because his distribution. I've not seen enough of him to see if he's as good a shot stopper as Vicario, but he doesn't faff about. He's better on corners. He's a better kicker of the ball, and he just moves the ball quick. This faffing about the back, I'm done with Vicario on that. I really am. But saying that, that's a lot of people didn't even see it. The referee gave a goal kick, but Cherky or whatever his name is, Chicken Tikka Cherky, or I don't know, but it was going one way, but he did one of these tippy overs. That was a world class save. So yeah, probably City could have been three up at half time, 3 or 4 maybe. But when we came out, again, this is that was quite an early game, so that kicked off at 12:30 night time. So I was watching that in bed, and I nearly, I didn't. I'm saying I nearly turned it off at half time, but that was never going to happen. I'm a sucker. I don't think I've ever turned off a game, even if we've been getting an absolute tonking. But there's always that hope, isn't there, with football? That's why we watch it. You know, that's why are people complaining that, oh well, why aren't they? It's game. It's two halves for a reason. Whether it's tactical or rest or whatever, you can't. The way we played in the second half with the squad we've got, what team can do that for 90 minutes? I'm not saying we should come out and as lazy, as lethargic as we were, but you're telling me Frank doesn't go out. I saw a documentary with Brentford, and he's saying there's no deadwood here, and he says to the players, don't leave anything out on that pitch. You know, give your all. You're telling me he doesn't make that speech for Spurs. There's got to be some the players. So if they don't do that in the first half, it can only try again in the second half. And trust me, I bet you he said some words at half time, because they came out different team. And like I say, you can't do that for 90 minutes. And I'm so glad. I said I'm thinking about turning it off at half time. I wasn't, but stick with it. And I felt like it was a victory. You know. Solanke's first goal, he did kick the back of Gahey's leg and went through him and kicked the ball, but then again, it could have been a penalty, couldn't it? I mean, if Solanke didn't get the ball and kick it, Gahey put his leg around the front of him from behind. So I don't know. But and his second goal, get in there. How cheeky was that? So yeah, so I'm just compelled to if anybody's interested, and I don't think there's many old gits like me doing a Spurs YouTube channel. So I shall try and do a video and post it after every game and give my views. I'm just like, oh, that's one big point I was going to say. Yeah. So imagine the players, the last couple of months. Yeah, the performances haven't been great, you know. But there's loads of reasons for it, you know. The injuries for a start. But I've seen them give effort. Even when Porro's had a stinker, he gives effort and he's passionate. And we're booing the players. You know what I mean? Even to the extent where the players are pulling other players away and saying, "Don't go over and applaud them," because all they've done is just been on our backs all the game. It affects them. They hear it. And don't give me this shit. They're paying all the money, and they should do it regardless of everything. Bollocks. They're human beings. I mean, most of them could retire. Really, if they wanted to live a normal, within their means life, they've probably got money enough and investments in things. They probably don't have to do it, but they do, and they hear it. I guarantee you, they hear it. And Thomas Frank. That's going to help him going home over sleepless nights with 15,000 fans booing him and saying you're getting sacked in the morning. What good is that? You know, I've been on managers' cases before, And I think there has been a few that I've thought, well, it's time to move on. You know, I'm not naming any names because I can't even remember them, to tell you the truth. But there hasn't been many. I've always got to give them time and whatever. Yeah? I mean, Arteta was being called for the sack 2 seasons ago, wasn't he? You know, by the Arsenal fans. And the most famous one is Ferguson. They nearly got relegated. So just stick with it, for God's sake. Listen, like I said, I know the last couple of games when we've seen improvements and we've had momentum in the game, and he's made a substitution, and I'm saying, well, no, leave it for 10 minutes, because the subs come on and it's just ruined the momentum. We've got game switch. I've played shit level football, but I've been in games where we've been on top, or the other team's been on top. Something happens, or there's a respite, or whatever, or you get a free kick, or you get a scrawny goal, and then suddenly you can't stop the tide. And you think, well, we were all over this team 20 minutes ago. What's happened? You can't explain it. And even as used to be captain, I scream at the players, what's going on? Try and get them going, but suddenly they can't string 2 passes together. It's football. You can't win every game. You can't destroy everybody any game. I'm losing it here. I said I wasn't going to go into losing it thing. So those players who are getting booed, suddenly they're hearing you're coming up against Manchester City and the fans want them to lose. I mean, what confusion does that cause? They say, well, hang on, they were booing us because, you know, we gave blood, sweat and tears, but we just weren't good enough. And we made a couple of mistakes and we were getting booed off the pitch. Now they want us to lose. What is it? You can't have it both ways. So come on, Spurs supporters. I've noticed again with the YouTube, and there was a guy from Australia. I won't start name dropping at this stage, but don't agree with everything he says, but he's always positive. And I listened to him this afternoon, and I listened to them all, you know. Yeah, as I say, no name dropping, because, you know, there's some of the good ones that you know, I watch every day, tune into first off to see what they have to say. So there's this one channel today, and I scrolled through the comments, and I thought, for once, they were all quite positive and saying, no, come on, you know, you're out of order here. Why are you saying that? You know, that was a good result. So I was compelled to start my own channel. Now it's 20 minutes long. Didn't expect it to be that long, but yeah. That's it, really. That's all I've got to say. But I love the club. I get frustrated as anybody. But yeah, I mean, it used to ruin my weekends. Oh, it still does to a certain extent. But I mean, years ago, I used to go to watch, and if we get stuffed and whatever, it'd take me 2 or 3 days to, you know, be back to my chirpy, happy self. So it does affect you, and I understand it. But come on, and it was just so nice to see the players coming off the pitch with the fans applauding them, and Frank high-fiving some of the fans, and, you know, without the nasty comments. So let's keep it positive. Let's keep it Tottenham. Happy days. Come on, you Spurs. One more slurp. And let's see where this goes. Bye-bye.